But the fact is now Bibi and the Israeli hard right government has a mandate. I got to be careful the way I say this. They're going to try to ethnically cleanse Gaza.
Yep.
I mean, I don't use that term lightly, okay?
A few weeks before the tragedy yesterday, I called him and I spoke to him and I said, please come to Israel. I invited him to Israel. And sadly, that visit will not take place. But he was a defender of our common Judeo-Christian civilization. He was unbelievably excited to walk in the footsteps of Jesus here.
I don't think it, I know it. He was going through a lot and there was a lot of pressure. And it's hard for me to watch the people who were pressuring him, I don't know, just say the things that they're saying. You know, there's something about it that just feels really fake to me. And they would have allowed him to lose and wanted him to lose everything for changing or even slightly modifying an opinion. And then to see them doing what they're doing today, it's hurtful to me. It's very hurtful to me.
One thing about Candace Owens is she doesn't just believe anything she sees. She does her research, digs deep and finds the truth for herself, even if it comes with risk. She never gives up. Some might think that once Charlie Kirk's killer was found, the story ended there, but there could be more behind it. What was the real motive? Considering everything Charlie was going through, as Candace Owens pointed out, there's a strong possibility someone was pulling strings behind the scenes. But for now, I want you to just listen to this clip of Charlie Kirk talking about Bibi Netanyahu and Israel on the Patrick Bet podcast. Take a listen.
So I've been to Israel many times. The whole country's a fortress. When I first heard this story, I still have the same gut instinct that I did initially. I find this very hard to believe. I've been to that Gaza border. You cannot go 10 feet without running into a 19-year-old with an AR-15 or an automatic machine gun that is an IDF soldier, right? The whole country is surveilled. And so let me just kind of go through this. We don't talk about Israeli politics very often, and most Americans don't know this. The last 9 months, Israel was on the brink of civil war. It's not an exaggeration. This judicial stuff, there were hundreds of thousands of Israelis taking to the streets because Bibi Netanyahu is basically redefining the Israeli constitution. That's not an exaggeration, right? He said the judicial branch has too much power. There were protests planned this week against Netanyahu, where they anticipated tens of thousands of people to take to the streets. That's all gone, Patrick. Netanyahu now has an emergency government and a mandate to lead. I'm not willing to go so far that saying that Netanyahu knew or there was intelligence here, but I think some questions need to be asked. Was there a stand down order? Was there a stand down order? 6 hours? I don't believe it. Israel's the size of New Jersey. When I took a helicopter ride from Jerusalem to the Gaza border, it's 45 minutes.
Wow.
6 hours. They're live streaming the killing of Jews. Did somebody in the government say stand down? That is a legitimate, non-conspiracy question. The whole country is the IDF. The whole country is.
Yeah.
And you're trying to tell me that they're going to concerts and kibbutzes and schools and by reports 6 hours. Let's say it's 3 hours. And by the way, I'm actually very pro-Israel. So let me be so I'm not exactly.
Well, I think we all are.
No, I just want to make sure my position is clear here. But so Patrick, there are other explanations. It's possible that the Netanyahu government was double-crossed by bad agents. Okay? That's dark, but it's not as dark as what we're talking about. Okay? Another aspect is that Netanyahu might have traitors in his government, like legitimate traitors that have infiltrated. I was texting with some senior people in the IDF, and they said, Charlie, can't say too much, but let's just say the same problem you have with the left in America we have here in Israel. So there's something to think about. Just something to think about, right? Is that maybe there are some people within those intel agencies that aren't as sympathetic. Or maybe, Patrick, maybe they might have gotten a tip, they might have gotten whispers, but no one thought it would be 1,200 Jews dead. That's a potential, right? Because here's the essence of it. The essence is this. This is the closest thing to the Holocaust that any of us have lived through. But the fact is now Bibi and the Israeli hard right government has a mandate. I got to be careful the way I say this. They're going to try to ethnically cleanse Gaza.
Yep.
I mean, I don't use that term lightly, okay? They're talking about basically removing 2.5 million people from there, okay? And honestly, they have a mandate to go seek justice and revenge. They do. This idea that they need to have a truce or a peace treaty, that's morally crap. after you see women and children be burned alive and dragged to the streets. But there are some serious questions here, Patrick. And let me tell you, my pattern recognition over the last 5 years has become pretty sharp. COVID, Maui fires, Epstein. When I see a story and it doesn't click, our guts are usually right.
After listening to this video, it's clear that Charlie Kirk was questioning some of the decisions and actions of Bibi Netanyahu and the Israeli government. He repeatedly emphasized that he is pro-Israel, but that does not mean he blindly supported every move of the government. He raised serious questions about intelligence failures, possible stand-down orders, and the presence of potential traitors or bad actors within Israel's own agencies. You can hear that he was thinking critically and independently, weighing what he saw on the ground against official narratives. This is where Candace Owens' point becomes very real. She mentioned the immense pressure Charlie was under, and this clip shows exactly why. Some of the same people who had supported or sponsored his movement in the past were likely uncomfortable with him questioning the government and may have threatened to withdraw support if he continued speaking out. That's a very real dynamic for public figures. Speaking the truth, even carefully and respectfully, can come with enormous risks when powerful interests feel challenged. Charlie was in a difficult position, trying to navigate his support for Israel while also confronting troubling realities that he couldn't ignore. He was asking questions, pointing out contradictions, and highlighting moral concerns. That's courage, and it also explains why Candace Owens was right to draw attention to the pressures he was under. This clip isn't just a conversation about politics, it's a glimpse into the complex forces surrounding someone willing to think and speak independently, even when it could cost them everything.